What's going on, you guys? Today I have another quick video review for you. This one is from Southeast Asia with Michael, and it's called Filipinas, Vietnamese, and Thai women. I lived with all three, and the differences are huge. Let's get into it.
So in this video, I want to talk about 10 different personality and physical and cultural things and the differences between Thai, Vietnamese, and Filipino. It's quite amazing how different they are, even though they're located very near each other. Okay, so let me go down and show you guys around my $500 a month apartment here in Pattaya, Thailand. Just FYI, don't come to Pattaya if you're looking for a real girlfriend. It would be an insane amount of work. I do see couples here, but who knows how stable it is, and it's just not good, trust me. Different city. One good thing about Pattaya, it is cheaper for Airbnbs here. I pay $500 a month for this place, plus electricity and water, which is usually around 40 or 50 US dollars a month. So show you the great swimming pools in the area around here. This is in central Pattaya, not too far from the main beach, maybe about 2 kilometers max to Pattaya Beach and everything down there.
I want to point something out about that. The Airbnb is $500, which usually is about half the price if you end up renting, which is easy to do around that area, or just in general in Thailand. So that would probably be about 250 a month if you rented off of Airbnb.
Spent over 10 years in these countries. Okay, so this is outside. You can see they have just beautiful pools here. So it's been nice. I went tanning for the first time in 10 years, which was a nice feeling. It feels good on your health. Let me sit down here and let's talk about females. So I'm going to touch on 10 subjects on females between the 3 different countries. So let's start. Number 1, English skills. Of course, everybody knows that the Filipinos have the best English skills. I'm not debating that at all. But there is a misnomer, and that is that Vietnamese don't speak good English. I hear a lot of YouTubers say that. That is just not true. The problem is when guys travel and they're just in Vietnam for a couple months or so, they don't recognize that Vietnamese girls are not talking back to them for 2 reasons. One, they're very shy. They're also very scared of saying something and being laughed at. That is a huge fear for Vietnamese people, is to make a mistake, even a small mistake. It's the way they're raised up in their schooling system. The worst English speakers are Thai. And I hear people say, well, that's not true. They're better than Vietnamese. But that is definitely not the case. That is, bar girls have good English because they're talking to foreigners all the time in English. It doesn't matter if they're from Europe or wherever. For sure, Vietnam has the second best English. So one thing you'll see living here is the girls that just walk by. There was 3 of them. One walked in front of the camera. The other 2 didn't care. Is anywhere from 3 to 7, 8, 9 in the morning. I think it's 9 now. They just come out of these buildings because there's so many bar girls in Pattaya, which makes the dating here very difficult, as I said before. Okay, let's get back to guys that are interested in real relationships, whether it be just dating and see where it goes, or dating and you want to get married. Oh, fuck. Okay, so in English skills, Filipinos are number 1. Except in the provinces, sometimes they don't learn that much English because they don't go to school, so they don't speak good English. Second best will be in Vietnam. And you just have to give it time until they get to know you and open up, and then you'll find out their English skills are actually quite good. They're ranked in the middle, or just above the middle of the top 100 countries in English proficiency, where Thailand is ranked way down near the bottom. Second, let's blaze through this, and that is cooking skills. Vietnamese are going to rank number 1 because they have the healthiest food, and it also is very good. Second is going to be Thai food, because it is also very good and can be pretty healthy. A little bit less on the vegetables than Vietnamese food. And third will be Filipino food, which is not delicious and ranked near the bottom of cuisines in the world. So, although Filipinos are very adept and love to cook for their husbands and family, maybe you're going to have some problems with eating there. You will get used to rice. I will say that from living in Southeast Asia for a long time. Rice is king here. And actually, I really like it now. So your body adjusts. Okay, number 3, scams. You guys see scams all the time. Which is the worst? Which is the least likely to get a scam? Okay, so this is kind of tough to call. The most important thing about scams is take your time. Don't give money to somebody you've never met, obviously. But here's the problem, and I think a lot of you guys know this. You're so lonely, and once you get here and you see these girls and they are so attractive, and you're just like, wow. And that can blind a man. And you're like, okay, I'll give you some money. That's worth it because I don't look anywhere near you on a 1 to 10 scale, so I don't mind giving you some money, and that's okay.
And there's a bunch of big dummies. I hate to say it because someone watching this might have done this already, where they, like, the girl, maybe they've just been like FaceTiming a girl for months, and then they go over to one of these places. Let's say they're looking for a relationship and not like the bar girl, whatever stuff, right? Um, they'll FaceTime a girl for months, and then the girl will say, "Oh, my grandma's sick. Can you please send me some money?" And then they'll send them money, right? And they might do it more than once, and they might send way more than they need to because the US dollar goes a lot farther. So just don't do this, right? And by the way, like, there's guys that are talking about, like, they've only been FaceTiming a girl and they're like, I think I'm gonna propose to her. Oh my god, like, this shows you like the scarcity mindset that they were in, which is why this guy is talking about going slow. You need to be the one leading the relationship, pacing it. You decide if you get to see her several times a week or only once a week. Make sure it doesn't go that fast. I've had that happen before where it went way too fast. They want to move in with you right away, want to do this and that, right? And you need to be the masculine leader. That way, it actually helps you keep your head on straight and not think with your emotions or something else, um, so that you can be logical and make good decisions. Especially if you're a guy who doesn't have that much experience, or like, you have a lot of trouble with dating, or been lonely, whatever, right? It's like sort of like a scarcity mindset, and then you experience like, all of a sudden there's attractive girls that are into me. Be careful. This is what this guy's talking about.
And that's part of culture here. All cultures in Asia, you have to pay for women on their dates and so forth. But you have to be very careful how much you give. So here is the differences, the nuances. In Thailand, they just straight ask you to your face in person for something. I want a new phone. Can you buy it for me? They come straight out and say it. In the Philippines, it's much more online. They're doing it over scams where they ask you to send them money, and maybe they have who knows how many guys. And guys in America, maybe still working or something, will do that. Gonna lose some money and break your heart. That combination. And the last one is Vietnamese. Now, this is something unique about Vietnam. They're not so much in the short game. They're not so much concerned about buying a phone. They will almost never ask to buy a phone. A lot of times I've had Vietnamese girls offer to pay for dinner for the first date. Let me pay because, whatever the situation may be, but you cannot allow that to happen. It's a test to some degree, and they don't want to feel like they're bestowed to you if you pay, because they understand West culture is very, very different, right? Okay. But with Vietnamese, some of the women, they're playing the long game. And that is, they don't really care so much about a new phone or a new purse. They're looking to get to America because so many Vietnamese get there. And even if they just do nails, they can make, 80, 100K a year or more if they work 6-7 days a week. That is a lot of money to a Vietnamese person. So it's very tempting. They really, really want to get to America. So they're willing to play the long game, forget about all the little stupid stuff. And they're trained. They know that. So you have to be very careful and take your time with Vietnamese. They can be sneaky. Your time, you're going to start to see the personality. Number 4, let's talk about the bedroom stuff.
By the way, if you're dating, yeah, unless it's like a really rare circumstance, don't just stay there, right? Just stay there and maybe like build your long term life there, like where you're gonna retire and all that. Have a family there. Don't bring them back to the U.S. Like, I feel like more often than not, that's a bad idea.
Who's the easiest to get in bed? I'm not going to tell you who is the wildest or so forth or so on. I will tell you physically the most beautiful and the least beautiful. And this is a tough call between third place, between Filipinas and Thai. Now, everybody has a different look. Filipinas are a little bit cuter, Thai are more sexy. Here's the problem with Filipinas is they don't work out much, and their body is, yes, they're thin, but they have absolutely no muscle on them. It's just little tiny bits of muscle and just fat, even though they're small. Unless they're from the countryside or something and they, work outside or something. But Filipinos for sure have the worst body of the three. Second will be Thai. There's a lot of Thai women. I'm here in 2025. There's a lot of Thai women that are quite overweight. You'll see it in some upcoming videos. And for sure, the sexiest are Vietnamese because not only are they the thinnest by far, they are also the ones least more likely to go to the gym. They love to do yoga. Some of them like to lift weights, but yoga is king. And so they just, love that idea of being fit. They eat the best, and therefore they are the thinnest. They're actually the thinnest in the world. As far as like sleeping with you, how fast they're going to do it, for sure the fastest and the slowest. The slowest is going to be the Vietnamese by far. You have to take your time with them, which is a good thing. I heard this from some guys that were masters of manipulating women, and I'm not a proponent of that, but they said never sleep with a woman on the first or second date. Wait. And that makes them feel like there's more of a real connection there, not a connection in the bedroom. Because once you sleep with somebody, there is a connection. You can't deny it. And maybe it's a mistake. I've done that many times where I slept with somebody, and then you get a little bit emotionally attached to them, and then you ended up getting the wrong one because you're confusing your sexual emotions with personalities and how you're going to get along, etc., goals in life. So between, Thai and Filipino, as far as sleeping with you, they both can sleep with you very quickly. I would say Thai's maybe going to be the easiest, and I'm talking about non-bar girls, right? It's just more open in their society. So I'm going to go with Thai, the easiest, and then Filipino second, and then Vietnamese third. And there you go on cue. Okay, we'll go over cultural differences.
And personally, I don't recommend sleeping with someone quickly. I mean, you're giving that energy away. That's energy that you can be conserving for more important things. So I definitely recommend being more selective when you do that. With someone who actually matters.
Quickly because they're similar in the way that they're all very attached to their families. But so it's very important for them to have connection with them, live close to them, have them in their lives. It's very difficult for them to be away from their family. They all pretty much live in a house until they're married in all three countries. Maybe Thai's a little bit less. So as far as the one that has the closest ties to their families, that's going to be Filipinos. They're really, really tight with their family. Second will be Vietnamese. They're also very tight with their family, but not as much as Filipinos. You can find more independent females in Vietnam. And Thai are going to be the most independent, although still very close with their family and they love their family. They're a little bit more like American culture where, you kind of go out and get your own thing and do your own thing. Sometimes they live together, sometimes they don't, but it's different. So the next one is cheating and divorce rates. Let's put those two together and we'll end up making 9 points because they kind of go hand in hand, right? People don't like it when you lie to them and cheat on them. So here we go. Who are the most likely to cheat, and then who are the least likely? The least likely, this may ruffle some feathers, the least likely is going to be Vietnamese women. Although the Vietnamese divorce rate is second compared to the Philippines being the lowest, it's a misnomer because the Philippines, it's illegal to divorce. You can get an annulment, but it's very difficult, and just FYI, it's very expensive. It starts out at $3,500, and then it can go up to $35,000 if it's contested. So you have to be very careful if you're going to get married, and that doesn't include spousal support or child support. So the Philippines can be very, very dangerous if you go there, you want to marry somebody, and especially if you have kids. Ooh. And if it's a long-term relationship, those courts are going to favor. Remember, we're foreigners here. You're always going to be behind the 8 ball here in Southeast Asia. So be very careful about marrying here. Taking a female back to your own country, that's not a good idea either if you don't know them well. Okay, so let's get into the cheating. Who are most likely to cheat and who are the least likely? The least likely are going to be Vietnamese women, although they still do cheat. It's especially more now. I've been told that by some Vietnamese friends of mine who are like 35 that they have friends that cheat on their husbands because they know their husbands are cheating on them. And they have jobs now. So before, in the past, Vietnamese men had 2, 3 wives if they had the money for it, and it was just socially acceptable. But now the women don't like it, especially if they have a degree. Before, they're kind of just stuck, right? They're home with the kids. They have no way to make money, so they just have to allow their husband to do that. But now they're firing back and trying to have some on the outside too. Second will be Filipinas. They also can be very faithful or not. They're usually not in between. They're either players or they're very good wives. Thai women are going to be the most likely to cheat, and you can see it in both the statistics and the divorce statistics. So 60% of Thai women admit to cheating in their marriage, 70% of Thai men, so it's very common in Thailand. The second thing is, in Thailand, the divorce rate is 50 to 70% in the first 10 years with foreigners or expats, so it's really high. So Thai women are much more likely to divorce you than Vietnamese and Filipina. So between Filipina and Vietnamese, I'm going to put Vietnamese third and Filipina second. Now, why are the Philippines so famous? Well, a lot of guys that are 50 plus like to go to the Philippines and marry somebody very young, okay? And it's very socially acceptable there, and the women actually are very open to it. So especially if you're going to live there in the Philippines, they've got it on easy street if you're there and you make any kind of money, right? So it's a bonus to that, and whether or not that's okay with you or not. But the deal now is there are 750,000 Americans living in the Philippines in 2025. So the competition has gone way up. And what has happened? Not the same. You can't just go into Manila, into a mall, and meet these young girls, and they're like, oh, yeah, because they have better, younger options, physically better, and they're much more in tune to staying with someone younger. Of course, I would be too. The same reason you want younger, they would like younger too. You can go out in the province, and you can find younger women that will marry you. So that is, but the situation out there is their families are poor. You're probably going to have to support them and their family most likely, and their English skills are less. And is it worth it? Because you can actually date somebody that's in their 40s and weighs 105 pounds. They still look fantastic. And their personalities are more mature and way easier. Even since I was young, I realized, even in my 20s, I realized that older women are way easier to date. Less arguments, very much more balanced and calm. They know who they are, and they're, just easier. So as far as the number of American
I don't know if you just saw what he put up at the top, but it was wait till you see like 40 to 60-year-old women in Vietnam. I'm sure it's because they look young, right? Um, there's a saying, it's something like Asian don't raisin. It means that they don't get wrinkles. But it seems like Vietnamese is overall winning.
in Vietnam and Thailand. In Thailand, it's estimated to be around 30,000 Americans are living in Thailand right now. That is an estimate, but it seems like it kind of rings true. It might be a little bit higher. And Vietnam has 100,000, but a lot of those are Asian, Vietnamese men that are going back to live in Vietnam instead of being in America. They're like, screw America, let me go back and live here where it's so much cheaper. And I've got a lot more girls available to me. How do they act when they're angry? Because they're completely different. So my last Thai girlfriend said, if I ever get angry or we get in a fight, just hold my hand, don't say anything, and just let me yell. I was like, okay, I'll remember that. That's a lot easier than me yelling. And then with Filipinas, they have what's called tampo. I know you guys know that. And that is where they're going to be emotional. A lot of crying, accusing you of cheating. They're very emotional beings. Where Vietnamese are going to be angry. And that can come out in throwing stuff, kicking, hitting. So it's a different personality when it comes to being angry. Just something to think about. So as far as age gaps go, for sure everybody knows that the Philippines is going to have the biggest age gaps in general. And that, of course, is because it's very common on YouTube to see guys that are 55 married to females that are 30 at this time. Maybe they've been married 5 or 10 years. You'll see them on YouTube comments saying, I've been married to my Filipino wife. She's 35 years younger than me, and we're happy. And yeah, well, you don't really know. Maybe she's banging the chef at work. You have no idea. But, maybe not. Maybe they're good and happy, and that is true. That is definitely a possibility with Filipino women. You just don't know. Age gaps in Thailand, common too, but not as common. I saw a lot of couples here when I was at the grocery store the last 2 times. Guys, maybe there was a 10, 15-year age gap, and that's much more common in Thailand than 25-year age gaps or more. that you see in the Philippines. In Vietnam, the average age difference between foreigners and a Vietnamese is 11 years. So it is, you definitely do see it, but it's not super, super common. Really, this all sums up to the beginning steps is who's available and it's supply and demand. And in the countryside, you're gonna have a much easier time in all three of these countries. I hope this was informative. I'd appreciate it if you give it a like and follow if you like my content. And I'll
Obviously, he made a great video, guys. That's Southeast Asia with Michael. Go check him out. And then like, comment, subscribe over here as well. I'm building to 1,000 subscribers right now so I can monetize and help more guys. But I think he made a lot of really great points. Sounds like Vietnam mostly wins overall. But there's definitely, like not so quality and then really high quality people in both. So, don't discount one, just because of like the ratings that he gave there. Go check it out for yourself because you might find that you really enjoy one of these places over the other. And I definitely recommend going there for other reasons, like you're interested in the culture, the environment, the food, etc. Like, think about where you want to live long term, and then the women part, that's like at the bottom of the list, right? That will come. That would be like a byproduct of this. So think about it, and thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.